Hello, this is my task D1 submission, and my name is Gurnur Singh, and my student ID is S223955119. And within this task, we had to we first had to extract the data sets from YouTube and then analyze them through various visualization techniques. To start the task, here you can see that I've got the instructions and the question here as well. And basically, I had to choose a topic that was viral throughout the news channels and then extract data from them. So that was the first step. And in order to do that, a YouTube API was required. And you guys can see here that I did create my API and put that into this credentials file here. So I have my developer key, service name, and version. Afterwards, uh, we have to move into the collect file, as you guys can see. And first of all, this file you can see, because I've already ran through this one, it contains all the libraries and packages that I need in order to do the analysis. And that's why it says package stopwords is already up to date. But I will just run through this again just to make sure. See, it says all required modules are installed. Package stopwords is already up to date. Afterwards, we get into the settings sections of this file. And you guys can see, as my topic here is Australian election 2025, that's why I have mentioned the 4 keywords that relate to that topic. And you guys can see that start and end date, the timeline is mentioned as well. And the maximum number of videos that will be extracted here, I've set it up to 50, but I will change that to 20 later on. And I'll explain the reason why. And here we are basically loading the credentials file for authentication. And these are the functions then further that will be used to extract the channel ID and channel title of the videos. And you guys can see the function. So this function basically get the videos from the channel. Afterwards, we retrieve the comments for a list of videos. And then afterwards, the data is cleaned. I won't go into much detail in this section because the D1 file is what matters here. So I'll just go through this in a in a bit of a faster manner. So, and here you can see that I have to call all the functions that we have created here. So I'll just first of all run all these. So there's no error when I run the file again. And this, there you go. There you go. And since I've called all the functions, you guys can see that it started extracting or collecting the videos from the 4 news channels that I had used and the comments as well. And now further, you can see the data that was extracted. So this is the data that is extracted in form of a CSV file. And so these are the comments and these are the videos. And afterwards, we move into a D1 file where the main analysis takes place. Again, you can see we get into the settings section here. And this basically specifies the details of a topic. And you guys can also see that I have set the maximum number of videos to 20 because this is how much we can extract in timeline from YouTube, I guess. That's why. So yeah. So this is the settings section. And I'll just run through this. Afterwards, we get into the import section, and you guys can see, again, it contains all the files and packages that I need in order to perform the analysis. And I'll just run this again as well. It says package software is already up to date, which means I have all the files and libraries that are needed. And then you have the function for loading credentials. And you guys can see it mentions the developer key, the service name, the service version, as we had in a credentials file here. So sorry, yeah, just run this one. This is the function that we'll be using to get the channel ID and channel title as well. So yeah, I'm running through each each one of these in order to make sure that there's no error within the file. Get channel videos, yeah, getting the comments, and afterwards the functions are called again within the file. Yeah, and this section here, you guys can see that it's quite important because we have collected the data, but it's in a very raw form. And in order to perform an analysis in a clean way, it has to be cleaned properly. And that's why you can see here that from the video title section, we have mentioned all of the digits or characters that we don't need. And you can see that x.lower function has been used here. So which basically what it does is it converts all the capital letters into lowercase letters so that all the data is in the same form. And same has been done for the cleaning the comments data. So yeah, afterwards we have the drop duplicates function. So any similar names or words, they are dropped. And then any non-English comments, they are skipped, as you guys can see here. And everything is then sort of saved into the CSV files here, you guys can see. And then we prepare the data for the analysis and dive straight into our questions. So from this section, from E1, I had to choose two questions. And you guys can see within this question, I had to compare the distribution of number of views, likes, and comments for the videos. And a visualization technique had to be used in order to do that. So I mentioned whatever the axes and the figures that I need, and then three histograms are plotted for views, sorry, for like count, view, and comments, with reference to the number of videos that we had in our analysis. And you can observe here that each one of these are right skewed, which tells us that the most of our videos within the analysis had a low view count, and it does suggest that only some of the videos went viral, and same can be said for like and comment count as well. The second observation was that there's a small number of videos lower that had lower like or comment count, but number of views was a lot, like, so which can does suggest that these videos were from famous channels, but since there was no engagement, so it does present a sort of a niche social media situation as well. So yeah, these were the two observations from first question. Afterwards, I moved on to the second question. And in this one, I had to see if there's a relationship between the length of comments and its like count. And I'll just run through this one as well. Oh, so I've seen there's an error here. It says comments under DF is not defined. I think I didn't run every one of these properly. That's why it happened. Just run this one again. Let's see if I can get that error sorted. Yeah. Just to make sure that there's no error, I'll just make sure that every function is called properly. But yeah, there was a small error because I didn't call every function properly within the code. So that's why. But you guys can see that this scatter plot doesn't reveal much to us. And this was my first observation about this because there's a random distribution of points. So makes it makes very clear that there's no relationship between common length and light count. Um, but the second observation was that there were some outliers, as guys can see that between this 160 180 range, we have like count more than 2200, which does suggest that there was some channel strategy used in order to get the videos viral and stuff. So yeah, these were the two observations from here. Afterwards, I dived into the second section, that was E2, and I chose the second question from that section. And in this one, I had to analyze how does average length of comments vary with its duration within a video. So I've had the code here, and I imported the libraries as well. And if I just run through this one again, So the first observation is that the longer the duration of videos, the longer the length of comments. Uh, and this is very clear from the scatter plot as well, as you guys can see. And this is because a longer form of content urges the audience to engage more. And that's why there were more characters within the comments. And the second observation was that the shorter the duration of videos, the number of comments was high. So the comments were short, but there were no more number of comments for short form content. And that is because in cases like that, it's easier for audience to digest the information and then provide their feedback. So yeah, this was the analysis from this section here. And overall, this is my video submission for task D1. I did face some errors while running the code because I didn't run all the functions properly that were used to extract the data. So, but as you guys can see, since I ran that properly, it got solved. So yeah, overall, this is my video submission for SIT 112 task D1. Thank you.